and by Buick and your Buick dealer. The Great American Road belongs to Buick. You're looking live at Assembly Hall, Bloomington, Indiana. The Big Ten Conference season begins as the 14th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes meet the homestanding Indiana Hoosiers. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Wayne Larrabee. Both teams feel they're coming in with a lot of momentum. Ohio State won the ECAC Holiday Festival Tournament up in New York. They're 9-2 in the non-conference season. The Indiana Hoosiers are now 10-4, having won 7 in a row. They feel they have some momentum as we enter the conference picture. Joining me for the telecast of the Big Ten is Quinn Buckner, former great here at Indiana. Quinn, when we talk about the conference, the Big Ten Conference, we're talking about a different level of intensity, aren't we, for the players?
No, it absolutely is. And the level of intensity has to be increased, I think, threefold. When you get to this time of the year, what happens is everything else is preseason. Now there's such parity in this league. If you don't come to play, you can get blown out at any game.
One of the keys, of course, of this ball game for Ohio State, their fine senior guard, Jay Burson, 60 points in the 2 games up at Madison Square Garden over the weekend.
Well, Jay was the MVP of the Holiday Festival Tournament. I thought he played extremely well. He's got great savvy. He's got as much confidence as anybody I've ever seen play the game of basketball. Just a tremendous asset for Ohio State.
Now, Indiana's gone to a 3-guard offense, and a 5th-year senior by the name of Joe Hillman, who's also a pretty good baseball player, has been a calming influence, I think, on his younger Hoosier teammates.
Well, he really has been. He knows the system. He knows how to get all the players in the proper places to do the things that Coach Knight wants them to do. I think he's done that since they've gone to that system. They're now 7-1.
All right, Ohio State has had trouble in this building. The Buckeyes have won only once in 16 tries here in Bloomington at Assembly Hall. Meanwhile, Indiana only 8-9 in Big Ten openers under Coach Bob Knight. We'll be back with the starting lineups after these words.
Gentlemen, good evening. Indiana University welcomes you to the Assembly Hall and tonight's Big Ten game. Let's meet the starting lineups. For Ohio State, at 1 forward, a 6'7" senior from Pataskala, Ohio, number 20, Tony White. And at the other forward for Indiana, a 6'9" freshman from Chicago, Illinois, number 32, Eric Anderson. For Ohio State at the other forward, a 6'5" senior from Columbus, Ohio, number 44, Jerry Francis. And for Indiana at the other forward, a 6'2" senior from Glendale, California, number 44, Joe Hillman. For Ohio State, the center, a 6'8" sophomore from Washington, D.C., number 32, Perry Carter. In the middle for Indiana, he's a 6'9" senior from Salina, Kansas, number 11, Todd Jadlow. For the Buckeyes at 1 guard, a 6' senior from New Concord, Ohio, number 12, Jay Burson. And for Indiana at guard, a 6'4" sophomore from Marion, Indiana, number 3, Jay Edwards. The other starting guard for Ohio State, a 6'4" freshman from Arlington, Texas, number 30, Jamal Brown. Rounding out Indiana's starting lineup at guard, a 6'1" sophomore from Marion, Indiana, number 4, Lyndon Jones. The head coach for the Buckeyes in his 3rd season at Columbus, Gary Williams. And the head coach for the Hoosiers, now in his 18th season in Bloomington, Bob Knight.
The Buckeyes and the Hoosiers set to start the Big Ten season will return after this from your local station. To you by Buick. Tony White, Jerry Francis, the veterans of the front line. Perry Carter playing very well. Jay Burson, we talked about him in the open. And Jamal Brown, a fine young freshman. Eric Anderson, another good freshman leading the way for Indiana up front, along with Joe Hillman and Todd Jandlow. Jay Edwards, Lyndon Jones, the sophomore combination of the backcourt, highly effective for Indiana. The Hoosiers solid white with the red trim, solid red with the white trim for Ohio State. We're set to go. Jandlow for Indiana. Carter for Ohio State at center court. Jim Bain, the official, gets it underway. Jay Burson controls for Ohio State, number 12. Burson playing more of a point guard role this year. Excellent score throughout his career for Ohio State. Carter over Jandlow. Jay Edwards had the rebound for a moment. Burson takes off the deflection. Ohio State continues to work the ball. Francis in the lane. Rebound back tap, Lyndon Jones. Indiana on the roll. Hillman on the wing. Hillman again sets it up. This is the three-guard offense we talked about. Lyndon Jones and Jadlow inside. Jones on the move. Rebound corralled on the play by Jadlow. Too far under the hoop. Here comes Ohio State. Jamal Brown on the drive all the way, and he had a ball stripped away and a foul. Jay Edwards picks up the foul. His first personal. That's the first foul of the ball game.
Personal foul, Indiana, number 3, Jay Edwards. His first personal, the team's first. Victory throws, number 3, Jamal Brown.
Jamal Brown at the free throw line. Having some technical difficulty, I believe. We're not able to hear Quinn Buckner's comments. Jamal Brown, young freshman out of Arlington, Texas. Makes good on his first, and he'll have another. Brown, a good shooter, developed quickly early this season. Matter of fact, he stepped to the floor right away and has started for Coach Gary Williams throughout this campaign. He's just been head and shoulders above the others at that two-guard position. Makes good on a pair, and the first 2 points of the ball game belong to the Buckeyes. And there's the pressure in the backcourt, Quinn.
Well, that's something Indiana's definitely got to handle. One of the things they got to do is attack the basket, just as they're doing right here.
Jadlow on the drive.
That's exactly the thing Indiana should do. If they get an opportunity to attack the defense, score off of it, I think Ohio State will come out of that because they can't afford to get any foul trouble here.
A little over a minute and a half gone by, first half. Carter in traffic. Left it short. Carter keeps it alive. Jay Edwards corrals. Joe Hillman, good change of direction, ran into Jamal Brown. Carter ran out of real estate. It'll belong to the Hoosiers.
Well, that's good effort, I thought, by Perry Carter. I thought there was a poor decision on Joe Hillman's part. He had to realize there was nowhere for him to go, bring the ball back out, set it up. That's the patient Indiana need. They got lucky on that play.
Edwards inbounds pass nearly stolen by Jamal Brown. Very active defensively is that young freshman for Ohio State.
Well, he is very active. Ohio State goes into a 2-3 zone on the out-of-bounds players. They're in now. They're going to try to make Indiana shoot jump shots.
Anderson off the mark, and Francis the rebound for Ohio State. Jerry Francis on the wing. Crowd wanted a dribbling violation. Feed to Carter, left it short on the slam attempt. White on a tap, and a foul coming up on Tony White. First personal on White. That's the first on Ohio State, and take a look at this.
Well, Jerry Francis taking the ball to the basket as well he should. He's got little Joe Hillman on him. The officials didn't see the carrying. Good pass to Perry Carter, who mistimed his jump and just hit the bottom of the rim and shot it back up there in his effort. Tony White ended up getting the foul call.
Hoosiers break it across against the pressure. Edwards.
In this game with Jay Edwards, he's as good as anybody with the ball in the open court. Ohio State must do a better job stopping him further away from the basket.
Brown in the corner. Jerry Francis out front. That's Tony White. Carter nearly lost the handle on it. Ohio State trailing by 2 in the early going. Jay Burson really lit things up at Madison Square Garden. 60 points in 2 games. Burson shaking loose off a screen. Carter the rebound in the lane. He walked with it. Had happy feet on that play.
Well, he really did. What happened was both Carter and White had an opportunity to come down with the rebound, and then trying to get it from each other, they traveled. But it's a good effort for the offensive rebound.
Again, the pressure in the backcourt, and again the Hoosiers break it across. Jay Edwards, his second from the field. He's got 4.
That's a tough shot to make, but Jay Edwards, very much like Jay Burson, can make the shots on the move extremely well, as he did a good job of taking it to the basket right there.
Buckeyes are 0 for 6 from the floor here. 3.5 minutes gone by. Francis on the turn off the block. Carter up high for the board, can't control it. Boy, the athletic ability of Perry Carter very much in evidence here in this first half, but hasn't turned into anything positive thus far for Ohio State.
Well, I think part of that reason is due to the fact that's that intensity level we talked about. He may be a little too psyched for the game right now. Need to kind of calm himself down.
Joe Hillman, fifth-year senior, plays in the Oakland Athletics organization in baseball. Edwards off the mark. Burson the rebound. Here's Francis. Almost 4 minutes in first half, and Ohio State yet to score a field goal. Francis trying to rectify the situation. Carter left it short, but it was fouled by Anderson. Eric Anderson picks up his first. That's the second on the team.
I thought that was a good play. You see the ball is thrown inside to Jamal Brown. Why he's posting it in there, I don't know. But he gets good position. Joe Hillman reaches. He lost his man, and Jerry Francis takes it to the basket. And you'll see Perry Carter do what he does best. He's very aggressive on the boards. He came after it. He's now shooting 2 foul shots.
Carter, sophomore from Washington, D.C. More offensive-minded this year. Has been scoring at a higher clip. Averaging 13.8 points per ball game.
Well, that's been a big plus for Ohio State this year. They didn't expect to get as much offense as they get out of Perry Carter. He's a tremendous rebounder. He's giving them offense. They really are pleased with his play this year.
All 4 points for Ohio State from the free throw stripe, and 4 minutes have gone by in this first half. Indiana by 2. Lyndon Jones trying to force it on the weave to Hillman. Here comes Burson. Traveling the call. 15:50 left to go, first half of play. Indiana has a 2-point lead, and we'll be back. Right here.
Well, the play gets fast, and you see Todd Jadlow twisted his ankle. He stepped on the back of Jay Burson's foot, but he's back in the contest, so let's hope he's okay.
Jadlow's coming off what a 27-point performance over Utah State in the championship game of the Hoosier Classic. Boy, Ohio State ice cold to begin the ball game. Indiana on the attack. Hillman breaks free. Carter on the block.
That's a great block.
Burson running the break. Misdirected, I believe, by Edwards and knocked out of bounds. It'll belong to Ohio State. Good defensive play by the Hoosiers.
We saw 2 good defensive plays there. Perry Carter, I thought, did a great job blocking Joe Hillman's shot. Coming back, Indiana did a good job getting back and deflecting the ball from Ohio State.
Burson for his first 2 of the night. Rebound Anderson. Lyndon Jones. Francis has possession of the rebound. Ohio State a chance to tie with a conventional field goal. Take the lead with a 3-pointer. Jamal Brown.
Switch. No hold down here.
Burson. There's Tony White looking inside. White lets it go from the outside, nearly canned it. Anderson again the rebound. The young freshman from Chicago. Jamal Brown broke up that play down the sidelines. It'll belong to Indiana.
That almost caused a turnover, and that's a poor decision by Lyndon Jones throwing the ball to Jay Edwards, but it's a great play by Jamal Brown getting out there deflecting the basketball.
0 for 10 now from the floor. 0 for 11 for Ohio State from the floor here in this first half of play. Hillman left wide open for a moment. Jerry Francis getting back in a hurry defensively.
Ohio State is really doing a good job defensively, keeping Indiana, trying to get them to shoot perimeter jump shots.
Francis did not have possession. He's guilty of a push. First personal foul on Jerry Francis, second on the team. It's amazing Indiana has gone to the free throw line twice as much as their opponents thus far this season. Now, they're not going to go to the free throw line here, but it's amazing how many fouls have been called on the opposition as compared to Indiana.
Well, I think some of that is a function of the fact they played a 3-guard offense, which means that the guard is typically going to be guarded by a forward, and he's going to be quicker than the forward, therefore getting some fouls called against him.
Hoosiers on the attack, leading by 2.
See, Ohio State has come back out in their 2-3 zone, trying to get Indiana to stay on the perimeter, shoot jump shots.
Hillman for 3. The slam by Anderson.
Well, I was quite impressed by that. I didn't know Eric Anderson could jump that well. That's Joe Hillman's shot. He normally makes that all day long, but that was a good effort by Eric Anderson.
Eric Anderson, one of the outstanding young freshmen of the Big Ten Conference. Tony White inside on Jadlow. Carter fighting with Jadlow for the rebound, and the foul is called on Todd Jadlow. I mentioned the foul statistic a moment ago. Bob Knight looks on from the Indiana sidelines. So far here, almost 6 minutes gone by first half. 3 fouls have been called on Indiana, 2 on Ohio State.
Well, you'll see a great effort here. Tony White does a good job getting the shot up on the basket. And you see Perry Carter just has a nose for the ball. He goes in, and it's a definite foul.
Perry Carter, all of the Buckeye points have come from the free throw line. Carter has 2 of them. Perry just a 56% free throw shooter. Second upcoming for Carter. Perry Carter has 3 of the 5 Ohio State points. Grady Mateen coming off the bench for Ohio State. Buckeyes have had great production off of their bench. Carter leaves the lineup, and Mateen is on. Former Georgetown player. Edwards, good ball movement to Hillman. Anderson in the corner. Hillman left free. White kept it alive to Burson. Jerry Francis on the move. Jay Edwards broke it up. Burson almost took it away, and it'll belong to Ohio State. Jay Burson, a pesky little guard in there.
Jay Burson has a great feel for the game. What he did was notice that, well, knew for sure that Jay Edwards had to come down with it. Jay Burson got his hand there, knocked the ball toward the out-of-bounds line. Jay Edwards stepped out and he was training the ball.
Get off of me!
6.5 minutes gone by. First half. Indiana leading by 3.
Now, the whole thrust of Indiana's defense is try to keep the ball out of that position. They don't want Ohio State to get it down low.
Jamal Brown misses for 3. Anderson, another rebound for Indiana. Edwards quickly to Lyndon Jones. Edwards around Burson.
That's a good basket there. A good 2-man game played by 2 guys that know each other. Lyndon Jones and Jay Edwards played together in high school. But I would have to question whether or not Bob Knight wants his team running up and down the court that fast.
Burson trying to force it into McKean. Pass batted right back out to Jamal Brown, and now Burson resets the lineup. Burson over Edwards. Anderson the rebound. My goodness, Quinn, we're better than 7 minutes into this first half, and Ohio State yet to score a field goal.
Well, I think part of that reason is due to the fact Jay Burson really hadn't gotten off the snide, if you will, and if he doesn't play well for him offensively, Ohio State struggles trying to get offense from the rest of his teammates.
Indiana not burning it up. They're just 5 of 13. Lyndon Jones has it knocked away. Jamal Brown comes up with it. Here's Burson on the move. Jerry Francis claims the rebound and is fouled. No, he traveled. I thought he might have been bumped by Lyndon Jones from behind, and I know Gary Williams felt that way. Here comes Chris Gent into the ball game now for Ohio State, and Coach Williams. Chris Gent, a freshman from Sparta, New Jersey, good shooter and passer. Provided instant offense off the bench earlier this season, although he's cooled somewhat. As freshmen will play up and down, they'll get hot for a while and then cool off back and forth as they adjust to the different level of college basketball. Chris Gent has struggled recently, but they're hoping he can provide a spark here in this first half.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Chris Gent plays in the intense game for the first time in the Big Ten.
Edwards misses. Gent on the rebound. Jay Burson. Tony White stuck right with it, had it blocked a couple of times, and again Anderson on another rebound.
Now, Lyndon Jones is doing exactly what I think Indiana is going to have to do. They have to be more patient in their shot selection. If they don't, they'll turn it over, and Ohio State is very good at converting those turnovers, as you see a foul call.
Anderson strong to the basket, drawing the foul inside. Foul is on Chris Gent.
And you'll see right here, Indiana does, when the ball gets inside, you'll see Eric Anderson does what he can best. He takes it to the basket strong. The official called the foul, and I believe he called it on Chris Gent.
Chris Gent's first personal foul. That is the 3rd on the team. Eric Anderson misses at the free throw line. 75% free throw shooter coming in. Ohio State We have 11:41 left to go first half. Yet to hit from the field. Ohio State 0 for 16 shooting from the field. Wow.
Well, that is a tough night shooting.
It sure is. That's amazing when you think about it. Anderson makes good on 1 out of 2. 11:41 left to go. First half of play.
In California takes the jump shot, but Eric Anderson does a good job getting position, rams the ball down, and that's something that I'm sure Indiana fans are glad to see.
Buckeyes are 0 for 16 from the field of this first half. They've scored just 1 point in the last 4 minutes and 9 seconds. Chris Gent down low. Carter trying to keep it alive, but Anderson clears yet another rebound. What an outstanding job he's done on the boards of the first half.
Well, he really has. He's been extremely active for him throughout the entire season, and he's showing some of his rebounding prowess here today.
Jay Edwards on the move. Rebound Grady Mateen for Ohio State. Jamal Brown. Carter inside. Mateen has a nice touch from the outside, and he gets the first field goal of the ball game 9 minutes into the first half for Ohio State. Ball bounced through with 11 minutes left to go in the first half. Indiana's lead is just 4. Lyndon Jones over Mateen. Carter fighting for the rebound. Jamal Brown able to save, but saves to the wrong side. Jadlow chasing down, and now Hillman sets up the offense.
Play kept alive by the activity again of Eric Anderson. He kept the ball alive. Jamal Brown couldn't get a hand on it. Indiana ends up with the ball.
Anderson blocked by Mateen, and a hacking foul on Mateen. That is his fourth personal foul, fourth team foul, I should say. It is the first on Grady Mateen, but the fourth on Gary Williams Buckeyes. Fourth team foul.
Well, Gary Williams is asking the official, why is that a foul? And the reason that is a foul is that almost 9 times out of 10, when you go up to block a shot, if you ever bring your hand down, the official's going to make that call. And I'm sure Gary knows that, but he's concerned about some of the calls that Indiana has been getting on their end, and Ohio State has not been getting them on Ohio State's end.
Mr. Basketball in Illinois last year, 25 points, 13 rebounds a game. Anderson is 2 out of 3 now at the free throw stripe here tonight. 5 rebounds, 4 points.
I think the rebounds are set to be something that Indiana's got to be real happy about, because there was no reason to feel that he was going to do that, as they called Chris Gent for stepping over the line too soon.
Got a lane violation on Ohio State's Chris Gent, so Anderson gets another shot at it. 12-7, Indiana leading with 10.5 minutes to go first half.
Chris Gent has to be careful. He's an emotional player, and something like this can get him started in the wrong direction, and he'll become ineffective for Ohio State. So I'm sure Gary Williams will do what he can to calm him down.
Jay Burson yet to score here in this first half. 3-point try by Francis is there. 2-point lead now for Indiana, and the full court pressure once again by Ohio State. Jay Edwards hustles it across. Anderson trying to feed Jadlow. A little bit of a lazy pass there, Quinn, and Perry Carter intercepts.
Well, that was good anticipation by Perry Carter to get over there, deflect the ball, and come up with the steal. I agree, there was a telegraphing of the pass.
It'll belong to Ohio State. 2-point lead for Indiana. Buckeyes could tie in this possession.
You know, given that the Buckeyes, neither team has shot well, I think the Buckeyes have done an outstanding job of just staying into this contest, having not shot the ball very well at all. You know, just making that first bucket a couple minutes ago.
Indiana's only shot about 35% from the field of the first half. Whistle on the ball, and apparently a pushing foul coming up against Joe Hillman, I believe. It's his first personal foul. That is the 4th on the team. Up off the bench for Indiana, Chucky White reports on, along with Jamal Meeks. Eric Anderson has a seat on the bench, along with Lyndon Jones. Inbounds to Gent. He kicked it across the floor to Beard. Picked up for Ohio State, though. And Burson sets it up. Grady Mateen in the corner had it roll right to his feet. Burson for his first field goal of the night. Mateen on the follow. Francis had it stripped away. Joe Hillman up over the wheelchairs into the second row of seats.
Well, I'll have to credit Ohio State. I think they're doing a great job of being active on the boards. They get out there and just keep battling. As you can see right here, they just stay after it. And all of a sudden, the ball pops loose. and the official called the ball out on Joe Hillman.
Bradley in the ball game now at the point for Ohio State, giving Burson a break. Buckeyes reversing the basketball. Three-point try by Bradley.
Great play.
Jay Edwards to Meeks. Nicely done.
That was a great play by Jay Edwards. He did a good job of tipping the ball to himself, was able to get a fast break, a long pass to Jamal Meeks for the 2 points. That was a great effort by Jay Edwards.
Indiana's lead is 4. Gent. There's Francis up high. Perry Carter in traffic down low. Edwards nearly triggered it loose again. Carter gets it back. Carter again, and we've got a foul inside.
Boy, Perry Carter's really had a tough time getting the ball in the basket. He's been around there, made a good play right there. He had a ball fake that turned Todd Jadlow all the way around, but Perry Carter couldn't get it in the basket, but he still got fouled.
First personal foul on Chucky White. That is the 5th on the team. Perry Carter has been active all night, you're right, but all he has to show for it is 3 out of 4 from the free throw line.
But you know what he's done that I think has really helped the team? He's tipped the ball up a couple times.
Kept it alive, you're right.
Just kept it alive, enabled his teammates to get a hand on the ball occasionally.
Carter misses on his first, and he'll have another. Carter has 5 rebounds. 1 blocked shot. 8:22 left to go in the game, first half. Carter makes good on 1 out of 2 at the line. Again, pressure by Ohio State up quickly on the inbounds, and they relax right away.
Well, what they do, they have a new unit in it, and they want to let them get into the flow of the game a little bit before they start doing a lot of pressing.
Hillman gets the step baseline. Indiana resets the offense. Good feed from Edwards to Jadlow, but he traveled.
You're right. That was a good pass by Jay Edwards. I think it surprised Todd Jadlow a little bit. He did get his feet set and got called rightfully for a travel.
4 turnovers apiece now for Ohio State and Indiana. Eli Brewster, newly inserted into the game, number 22 for Ohio State. This is Francis. Yes.
That's a spot that I think Ohio State is going to have to exploit. They have Jerry Francis being guarded by a smaller Joe Hillman, and Ohio State must take advantage of that mismatch.
Hillman from the outside lights it up. His first field goal, he has 2.
That's the other side of the mismatch. Jerry Francis has also got to guard Joe Hillman, but I think the height advantage is obviously in Ohio State's favor, and they should take much more advantage of it.
That pass off the mark. Jadlow tracks it down. Here comes Jamal Meeks. White clears the miss, and the Buckeyes start up. Brewster sets up the offense. Coming up on 7 minutes left to go, first half. Francis on a force, nonetheless gets the rim. Jerry Francis now heating up from the field. He has 3 from the field and 7 points.
Did a good job taking the ball to the defense and getting up his shot real quick. He's the emotional leader for the team, so when he gets on track, either he or Burson, Ohio State usually does very well.
Edwards intended for Chucky White. I believe that was Francis who got a piece of it to break it up. 6:40 left to be played. First half here at Assembly Hall in Bloomington, and the Hoosiers lead it by 1.
They've shot 75%, 6 of 8 Indiana, 40%, 2 of 5.
3-point shots really haven't played a major role in the ball game as of yet. Indiana on the attack. This is Joe Hillman. Jamal Meeks out front. Edwards must be watched at the 3-point line. Hillman on a drive. White had the rebound. Jadlow trying to come up with it. Knocked out of bounds by apparently Indiana. I thought White had tipped it out, but Jim Bain was closer than I, and he says it was last touched by Jadlow of Indiana.
Well, that turns out to be, I think, a pretty good break for Ohio State, because I agree with you. I thought it was the same way, but now Ohio State has a chance to go with the lead.
Jay Burson back on. He's yet to score. Carter down low. White on the weak side of the rebound. Had it stripped away to foul. Believe it's on Hillman. It would be his second personal foul and the 6th on the team.
Well, Bob Knight's going to have to make a decision about Joe Hillman because they can not afford to lose him, because if they do, he takes away a lot of their stability. So that's somebody they really got to try to keep in the game.
White heading to the free throw line. There's a look at Coach Knight. No, I'm sorry, not a shooting foul. He had not made his move to the bucket. Non-shooting affair. Burson sets it up. Carter down low once again, and this time he walks as he makes his move. Portions of tonight's game being brought to you by Ameritech. Solutions that work.
You know, Indiana's done a pretty good job handling the press. I thought it would be more effective. Ohio State's press would be more effective against Indiana. Indiana's been able to get the ball down, and they've been pretty patient on the offensive end, but they haven't made any shots.
Edwards trying to feed Jadlow, and Jadlow had backed off a bit, heading toward the basket, and the pass geared more toward the baseline, and Jadlow unable to rein it in.
Well, the pass was definitely the cause. Jay Edwards made a poor decision. He didn't have a good angle to make the pass. It was definitely not Todd Jadlow's fault.
Now the Buckeyes set up. Francis across the lane, in among the trees. Carter trying to tip it loose, and we've got another foul. It's on Jadlow. I talked about that foul statistic. Indiana shooting twice as many free throws as their opponents, but boy, that's not held up at all. That is 17 fouls, second on Jadlow.
Good pass inside to Jerry Francis. He ball fakes, but I talked about Perry Carter. You see, he keeps the ball alive again. The ball comes to Francis. He gets caught. There's a foul call, and now Francis is on the line. Foul call on Todd Jadlow, who's now going out of the game, and Brian Sloan comes in for him.
Brian Sloan, the son of Jerry Sloan, a great basketball player with the Chicago Bulls, now the head coach of the Utah Jazz. Francis at the free throw line. Jerry was a power forward as a sophomore. He switched over to lost some weight, switched to the small forward position, and has played there since, as Tony White has come on and gained strength and moved into the power position.
Well, I think that has really helped Ohio State, because Jerry Francis is a guy who's you want to have the ball because he makes good decisions.
Meeks breaks it across against the press. Lyndon Jones has it stripped away by Eli Brewster, and it's picked up by Burson against Meeks.
Good take to the basket.
That's what Jay Burson does best.
That's where he's at his absolute best, getting the ball out in the open court and taking advantage of situations like that.
5:10 to go first half. Ohio State leading by 3 now. Indiana's going through a bit of a drought here.
Well, they were both going through droughts. I guess it's the less of 2 droughts.
Away from the ball, a foul coming up. They're pointing to Jerry Francis. On Francis, that's personal foul number 2, team foul number 5 on Ohio State. Non-shooting affair. Some contact on that play.
Just a little bit. I just looked up and I saw Brian Sloan
Brian
flying.
Sloan went flying, yes. Some major league contact. 3-point lead, Ohio State.
Now, that's newfound offense for Indiana. Jamal Meeks is primarily a ball handler. He usually pushes the ball up the court, but he makes jump shots like that. It'll make the inside game with Indiana very effective.
Burson in the corner, nearly at his pocket pick, and they call a foul on Jay Edwards. Second personal on Edwards. See if we can pick it up. Bob Knight not at all happy.
You see right here, Jay Edwards does a good job, gets in position, and the official called a foul, and I think that's a good call, and the reason you can tell is the direction of the ball. If he hits the ball down and the ball goes down, that's a good call. If he hits at the ball down and you see the ball go up, that means he fouled him. The official saw it the latter of the 2 ways and called the right call.
Burson making good on his first. Jamal Brown reporting back on for Ohio State, replacing Eli Brewster. Indiana scored, what, about 7 points in the last 7 minutes or thereabouts in this ball game. And has not been a pretty night for Jay Edwards, coming off the big performance in New York in the holiday tournament. I'm sure Burson makes good on a pair.
You said Jay Edwards. I'm sure you mean Jay Burson.
I'm sorry.
know, you think that some of that has to do with the defense that both teams are playing. I think they've both been very active and playing very good defense.
Sloan misses from the outside. Brown to Burson on the drive. The tap is there by Perry Carter.
And there's the ever-present Perry Carter getting around, getting an offensive rebound basket. Play made again by Jay Burson, pushing the ball up the court for the opportunity.
That's just Carter's first field goal. 5-point lead now for the Buckeyes. Jay Edwards for three. Burson on the rebound. Jamal Brown. Edwards clears the board, and here come the Hoosiers with an advantage. Buckeyes get back quickly on defense. Lyndon Jones sets the offense. Sloan. 3.5 minutes to go. Edwards. Jay Edwards heating up now. He has 8 points on 4 from the field.
Well, Indiana did a much better job of being patient that time coming down the court. The two previous times, they took quick shots that allowed Ohio State to push the ball up for easy opportunities.
Buckeyes on the attack, leading by 3. They went the first 9 minutes of the first half without a field goal. Francis. Lyndon Jones controls to Jay Edwards, and Jamal Meeks walks it across for Indiana. Under 3 minutes to go, first half. Jamal Brown away from the ball, guilty of a foul for Ohio State. Jamal Brown's first personal foul. That is 6 on the team. Let's see if we can pick it up.
Well, you see right here, the official said he called the call against Jamal Brown. It looked at me as that Perry Carter got the foul call, should have had the foul call, but the official was closer than I am, saying he made a good call.
2:34 left to go, first half. We'll return after this from your local station. Hall in Bloomington. Indiana trailing Ohio State 23-20. Hoosiers on the attack. Anderson back in after a long stay on the bench. Number 32 for Indiana. Lyndon Jones out front sets the offense to Jamal Meeks.
All right, Ohio State has come out now in a 1-2-2 zone, trying to point the ball. By that I mean keeping somebody at the ball all the time so Indiana doesn't penetrate.
Ball triggered loose. White on the feed ahead to Burson. Jay Burson now with 6 points. Ohio State to get a 5-point lead. Lyndon Jones gets the step, and he's fouled by Chris Gent. Appeared to be fouled before the shot attempt.
Well, it was definitely before the shot attempt. Gary Williams trying to calm his team down. And what he's really trying to tell them is don't reach for the basketball, because there really was nowhere for Lyndon Jones to go. He made the shot, but the official officially stopped it by blowing his whistle. So they're just telling his players, Gary Williams, is move your feet, don't reach.
Chris Gent picks up his second personal foul. Both teams are over the foul limit. Lyndon Jones at the free throw line. He and Jay Edwards combined for Marion, Indiana, to lead that high school to a couple of state championships, 3 to matter of fact.
Well, Lyndon has really started to play with a lot more confidence this year. There was some question as to his attitude, I think, early. One of the things I think that has been attributed to that is Jamal Meeks and the fact that when Lyndon is not playing, he knows that Jamal can come in and push the team, and now Lyndon has to be playing a great deal more aggressively in order to preserve his own position.
Treg Lee is on for Ohio State as Lyndon Jones makes good on a pair at the line. Under 2 minutes to go, first half. The lead is 3 for Ohio State. Lee to Grady Mateen, too close to the bucket.
That was a tremendous pass by Treg Lee. Was out about 20 feet from the basket, was able to get it in to Grady Mateen for the easy hoop.
Jamal Meeks. Lyndon Jones trying to get the step to the baseline again. Brown cuts him off this time. Under 1:30 to go, first half. We've got another foul. It's on Jamal Brown. His second personal.
And again, you see the confidence of Lyndon Jones. He got the ball, and immediately, both times, he took the ball to the baseline. Second time, Jamal Brown didn't do a good job moving his feet, got called for the foul.
Playing on the point is Lyndon Jones now for Indiana, and really that's been a move that's helped out a great deal. Hillman was handling the ball quite a bit early in the season, and since they've gone to Lyndon Jones, Hillman plays a wing and Jay Edwards on the other side, and Lyndon Jones has taken care of the basketball pretty well for Indiana. It's helped the offense immeasurably.
Well, the combination of, as you mentioned, having Joe Hillman being on the wing and Lyndon Jones handling the ball has helped him. But I think the point to be made is you take the ball out of Joe Hillman's hand dribbling, because he's not going to beat anybody with a dribble. He's much better at catching it with the defense coming at him than making decisions with the basketball.
3-point lead, Ohio State. Buckeyes on the attack. Jay Burson out front, number 12. Good feed to Mateen, and it tipped away, though, by, I believe it was Sloan, and then picked off by Anderson. Meeks on the drive to Sloan, right back inside Robinson.
Well, Indiana was definitely lucky by that play. I thought Jamal Meeks jumped in the air. As a matter of fact, I know he jumped in the air, didn't know where he was going to throw it. Brian Sloan did a good job passing to Mark Robinson for the basket.
Time winding down to this first half. Bradley tries to save it, but cannot. Indiana, with 46 seconds to go in the half, has an opportunity to take the lead. There's Bob Knight and that great record here at Indiana. In 18 years, his 18th year now.
Well, coming here, I'm sure there's a 1 second difference here on the clock. They're going to wait to take one shot, try to get the best opportunity they can to go in at half with the lead.
Jay Edwards. Again, the Hoosiers in no hurry whatsoever, as the shot clock, there's a 1 second differential. They'll work it as long as they can, get it down to the final ticks. Time left in the first half, lower right-hand corner of your screen as the Hoosiers work. 1 point lead for Ohio State.
Well, Indiana really try to do is get the ball clock down around 8 seconds or so. Try to get the ball in Jay Edwards or Eric Anderson's hand and let them do what they can do offensively.
Jamal Meeks now penetrates. Lyndon Jones over Mateen. Craig Lee battling Anderson. Last touch by Anderson with 3 seconds to go.
So that's not the kind of shots you want to see taken at the end of the half, but they got a shot opportunity to get it in. They just missed it. Now Ohio State has the same opportunity.
Bradley trying to beat Burson, stolen by Meeks as time winds down.
Well, it's been an interesting first half, to say the least, but I have to think that both teams have to be pleased that either one of them did get blown out in light of the fact that nobody shot the ball very well that half.
A struggle offensively for both Bob Knight's Hoosiers and Gary Williams' Buckeyes here in this first half of play, and the scoreboard reflects it. Ohio State leads Indiana by a point at the break, and we'll return. Tonight's game. Joe Hillman starts it up. Hillman only 2 points in that first half of play. Hillman given the open pop.
You said he had 2 points, but Joe Hillman, for folks that don't know, averaged 40 points a game in California when he was a senior in high school, so he can shoot the ball. He went to play baseball, got his confidence, and he's ready to play basketball, I'm sure, this half.
He didn't report here till November 1st after the instructional league, and that's a traveling violation on Jamal Brown. So a shaky start to the second half for Ohio State, an Indiana field goal and a quick turnover by the Buckeyes, and here's the full court pressure. They like to trap. Jamal Brown deflects it away.
Boy, he covered a lot of territory to get over there just to get a hand on the ball. But I thought Todd Jadlow made a poor decision. He got the ball in the corner where the defensive lines could be used in addition to the 2 defensive players, and it caused him to make that bad play.
Buckeyes relax the pressure. This is Joe Hillman, the 5th-year senior. Jay Edwards. There's the freshman. Up high, Eric Anderson. Hillman. Jadlow almost cleared it. Burson gets it off the deflection. Francis. Tony White left open. Eric Anderson on the carom.
That's a strong rebound by Eric Anderson. Tony White typically is not a good shooter from there, so he probably would have been better off by just bringing the ball out and letting one of the other shooters shoot the basketball.
Lyndon Jones. Hillman, good interior feed at Jadlow in among the trees off the glass for 2.
That was a good pass inside by Joe Hillman to allow that opportunity to be presented to Todd Jadlow, who did a good job forcing the ball up and getting it in.
Indiana's outscored Ohio State 4-0 in the first 1 minute 30 seconds of the second half, and thus the Hoosiers now on a 3-point lead.
Well, surprisingly, Ohio State has come out again with a somewhat sluggish start here, and they can ill afford to do that because you haven't played in these games here. You get down to Indiana, you can really struggle playing at Assembly Hall.
Brown off the heel of the rim. Hillman on the feed to Jones, and didn't appear Lyndon Jones was ready for the pass.
Well, I'm sure he wasn't, because that's not a pass that is typical of a Bob Knight team. Before coming down, Joe Hillman tried to make the pass. Lyndon Jones assumed that Joe Hillman would come down first, and Joe Hillman threw the pass. Lyndon Jones had taken off.
Jay Burson. Ohio State struggled at the outset of the first half. They'd like to avoid that tendency here in the second. Got a foul before the shot attempt. Ron Witter with the call.
One.
They're calling Joe Hillman on the foul. That's his third. First on the team. First foul of the second half, for that matter. Tony White looking for room, and Perry Carter's the open man. Now Burson resets the offense. Burson, good feed. Carter on the rebound battle. The foul is on Tony White. His second personal foul. That's the first on the team in the second half.
And Eric Anderson doing a good job doing the things you have to do. Jay Burson, who gets the ball, goes right with it. Lyndon Jones does a good job, absorbs the contact, passes inside. Todd Jadlow gets his hand up, and you'll see the position on the other side. Eric Anderson has it, and the official calls Tony White over the top.
Again, Indiana able to handle the pressure for the most part. Joe Hillman sets up quickly. They've done a very good job handling the assortment of presses that Ohio State has used here tonight. This is Edwards. Jadlow.
Well, we talked about the rebounding that Indiana has to do. They got out-rebounded not only 28-17, but Ohio State had 11 offensive rebounds. Indiana seems to come out and say, well, we're going to try to get some offensive rebound baskets.
Ohio State's been outscored 6-0 here at the outset of the second half. 17:36 to go. We'll return after this from your local station.
Good job of getting the ball off the basket and muscling it back up for 2 points.
Second chance points of the ball game. Indiana 14, Ohio State just 2. There's the field goal statistic in the second half.
Ohio State has had more opportunities. They just haven't converted them because alone Perry Carter has 8 offensive rebounds.
Away from the ball, we've got a foul. I believe it's on Eric Anderson. Jim Bain with the call. Gary Williams talking with Ron Witter. Ron Anderson, that's his second personal, second on the team here in the second half. They'll inbound baseline. Burson on the trigger. Indiana leading by 5. Carter over Anderson. Hillman clears the board, and Jadlow guilty of a rebounding foul. His third personal foul. That is 3 on the team right away. Todd Jadlow's had an up-and-down season thus far for Coach Bob Knight.
He really has. You see Gary Williams there, pretty pleased by what his team is doing, but Bob Knight is going to have to make some decisions here. Now, you see Todd Jadlow, he got pushed. What really happened is Tony White did a good job of faking the call, but it could have been a call made by the official.
The inbounds triggered loose by Jay Edwards as he sprinted away from the pack. He's fouled by Jay Burson. On Jay Burson, his first personal, that is the second team foul. Gary Williams looks on in dismay. Jay Edwards triggers for Indiana.
Now, it's important for the Ohio State Buckeyes not to get rattled by the fact that things haven't gone particularly well for them early in the second half here, because if they do, the fans will get involved in this contest, and Ohio State really won't have a very good chance of being successful.
I don't want to overwork the statistic, but they went 9 minutes in the first half, the first 9 minutes of the first half, without scoring a field goal to the Buckeyes. All they had were free throws. Jay Edwards has 10. 7 points the lead for Indiana, largest Hoosier lead of the night. Carter down low. Nicely done over Jadlow, who had to be careful. Jadlow with 3 personal fouls. Hillman keeps it alive. Edwards. Anderson.
Great job by Indiana pushing the ball up the court. Joe Hillman saved that because the pass actually got it thrown away by Lyndon Jones. Indiana ends up with 2 points on that opportunity.
I don't know if I'd want to be a player sitting in a film session following this game.
Well,
on the reach, it's Lyndon Jones, his first personal. That is 4 on the team. I think both sides are going to get an earful tomorrow from these coaches when they break down the film.
Oh, not only will that happen, but I've said in some of those situations, and you sit there and you just cringe every time you get your name called.
Jay Burson on the inbounds. Almost 4 minutes gone by second half. Perry Carter has the lone 2 points of the second half thus far for Ohio State. Carter goes to work again on Jadlow. Again, there's not much Todd Jadlow can do with 3 personal fouls at this point. Tony White hustling on the inbound.
I want to stay with you a while because you look so pretty driving through the city. It's here now.
Become a bit contagious with Ohio State. I think they feel that they have to pick up the tempo, and they need to do it defensively in order to get back in this game and be successful tonight.
Gary Williams was talking about it, the players he takes off the bench. Some of the young players, they're just learning how to play hard. I mean, they never really had to play.
Earlier, that's something that these players have to learn, must be done every night in the Big Ten, or as I said, you can get blown out here by any team in the league.
Some of the younger players, he was saying, have more ability than Francis or White, but they don't play to that kind of intensity level. Hillman. Carter up high for the Carom. Ohio State trailing by 5. This is Burson for 3. Yes. 9 points now for Jay Burson. Jadlow trying to get rid of it, and does to Lyndon Jones. Press beginning to bother the Hoosiers a little bit more here in the second half. They're laboring just a bit more. Foul away from the ball. I believe it's on Jamal Brown.
Now, the foul is on Jamal Brown.
That's his third.
And I agree with you. I think the pace has been something that, for the most part, even in the first half, was to the advantage of Ohio State. They want to run up and down, be aggressive on both ends of the court, and be quick about it. Indiana, on the other hand, needs and should be very patient, beat the press, get it on the other end. If you don't have a good opportunity, bring it back out and wait till you get a good opportunity to shoot the basketball.
Buckeyes now with 3 team fouls. Again, 3 fouls on Jamal Brown, the young freshman out of Arlington, Texas. Indiana on the attack. Lyndon Jones on the penetration. Over Carter, nicely done.
That was good penetration move. Something that you have to do, young players, if you're watching that, even in the zone, you got to penetrate the creases, because if you do, you'll end up with 2 people trying to guard you.
Got some pushing and shoving down low.
The official called it on Tony White. He called an offensive foul. Tony White had done a pretty good job, I thought, on the other end, doing some acting. The officials seemed to think that was the case, made the call. And you'll see right here, initially it looks like he gets held. And I'm not so sure he didn't get held there. I'll take that back. But you see there's also the elbow in the face. The official called the second foul. I would have to say the first time he did get held.
And Tony White continues to talk it over with Malcolm Hemphill. Third personal on Tony White.
Well, I had noticed a bit earlier that I thought the play had become a great deal more physical, and I think Malcolm Hemphill is telling both Tony White and Eric Anderson, guys, let's play basketball, cut out the rough play.
Lyndon Jones on the cut. Hillman left open at the perimeter for a moment. 6.5 minutes gone by second half. Indiana leading by 4. Plenty of time on the shot clock.
Ohio State's doing a very good job defensively. Indiana's had to pound the ball. They've done it pretty much on the perimeter, and Indiana hadn't had an opportunity for a shot as of yet.
Lyndon Jones off the pick.
Ohio State has got to get out. You can't afford to let players shoot wide open jump shots like that. Lyndon Jones is not considered a good shooter, but Ohio State worked so hard, got the clock down to 4 seconds, and let Lyndon Jones shoot a wide open jump shot.
Tony White replaced by Grady Mateen in the Ohio State lineup. Here comes Brian Sloan into the lineup now for Indiana, replacing Todd Jadlow, who has a seat on the bench. Both Jadlow and White sitting down with 3 personal fouls. Jay Burson sets it up for Ohio State. Oh, the block by Lyndon Jones. Mateen knocked it out of bounds. It'll belong to Indiana.
That was a good effort by Lyndon Jones. But you see Jay Burson goes to his left. He fakes. And you see Lyndon Jones gets all basketball on that play. That was a good defensive effort.
Back to live action. A foul called right away on Francis. And on Jerry Francis, his second personal. Ohio State now with 5 team fouls. The inbounds Brian Sloan. He was bumped by Burson, and the foul is on Jay Burson. 16 fouls now on Ohio State.
Well, Jay Burson looks on in disbelief, and down in front of us, Gary Williams is not too pleased by what's going on either. He thinks Indiana is getting a better deal on the foul call. I really couldn't see that one.
6-point lead for the Hoosiers. They have possession. Fouls beginning to pile up now on the Buckeyes. One more and they're over the limit. Hoosiers resume offensively. Lyndon Jones got by Burson. Burson chasing down. Hillman and Lyndon Jones gets called for the foul as he slapped at the ball. Second personal on Lyndon Jones, is 5th on the team.
You know, I got to commend the officials. I sat here and watched that play. That's a tough play to call. You got an official backing up, trying to watch the play. You see Jay Burson pushing the ball up, and the official makes the call. He says that it's a foul, and I'd have to say it is a foul for the most part. It's just a tough play to call, but the officials do be commended for the job they do with that.
Malcolm Hempel was in perfect position, as was our camera, to pick up that call. Stay tuned to the end of tonight's game when Quinn and I will announce the Budweiser player of the game. And I think at this point, the candidates for player of the game are still assembling, I would say. And we'll have more later as the drama unfolds, so to speak. The Budweiser player of the game at the end of tonight's telecast. Indiana's lead is 4. Ohio State a little trapping. Hillman.
It looks as though Gary Williams has made a decision to come out and try to get his team more aggressive in their defense. So he came out in a 1-2-2 attacking zone.
Burson hit the deck, no foul. 7 minutes gone by, second half. Hillman gets the step of the baseline. Oh, and a foul on Carter. Perry Carter's first personal foul, but it puts Ohio State over the foul limit with 13 minutes straight up to go.
Well, that was a good job. You see Joe Hillman do a good job, take the ball to the basket. And he got him with the body, but again, a part of the mismatch is that Joe Hillman is going to be faster than anybody guarding him as a rule, considering that probably as a forward. Took the ball to the basket. The official called a foul on Perry Carter. But Ohio State was supposed to be in a zone, and there's no way you should beat a zone by driving like that. There should be someone else from Ohio State getting over there to help.
Hillman, an 82% free throw shooter, hits on a pair at the line. He has 6 points in the game, and Indiana has a 6-point advantage. This is Eli Brewster. Burson off the feed. It's knocked away. Brian Sloan comes up with a deflection. Quickly, Jay Edwards. What a move.
That's a tough move. Gary Williams is going to probably have to call a timeout here or get his players to slow down.
Carter on the drive, traveled. .22 left to go. Indiana with its largest lead of the evening, 8 points.
Now, this is the time of the contest that the Ohio State seniors are going to have to start showing their leadership, not to get rattled by the fans, as we talked about earlier.
This is an intimidating building to play in if you're wearing the visiting jersey. Jay Edwards leaned in, but oh, and yes, they call him for the offensive foul. I thought he had dipped the shoulder a little bit, and usually when that happens, Quinn, they'll call it offensive.
And it was a good call by the official. I thought Jay Burson did a good job being very active. He moved his feet, was able to get in front of Jay Edwards and get the offensive foul called against Edwards.
11:59 left to go. Third foul on Jay Edwards, 6th on the team, and we'll be back. Columbus, Ohio. Wisconsin takes on Ohio State. The entire crew of the Big Ten Television Network will be there. We're looking forward to that one. Wisconsin off to a good start in the non-conference campaign this year, and they take on these same Buckeyes. Tell you something, Indiana beginning to put together a move here. Watch this action by Jay Edwards that just electrified this crowd.
Well, he's as good a one-on-one player as in the country. He avoids the contact, still has the presence of mind, get the ball up there with the touch, gets the basket. Jay Edwards is a tremendous offensive player. Great passer, as you saw there, one of his great offensive moves.
Now, I'll tell you something. This is a surprise to me, at least, Quinn. The points in the paint. Indiana 24, Ohio State 10.
Well, that is completely opposite of what I thought would happen in the game. We talked about keys. I thought the inside play of Ohio State would be key. They haven't produced inside, and I think it's obviously been to the detriment of Ohio State's Buckeyes.
Jay Burson, Jerry Francis down low. Tried a tough feed to Carter, and Lyndon Jones breaks out of there. Stripped away nicely by Brewster. He ran out of real estate. Good defensive play by Eli Brewster.
Very good defensive play. Got down there, got in good position, knocked the ball away from Lyndon Jones.
Jay Edwards triggers from the baseline. Three-guard offense for Indiana, all on the perimeter. Now Edwards cuts at the baseline. Oh, lazy pass triggered loose by Brewster. Brewster to Francis on Hillman. Blocked by Anderson.
That was good help by Anderson because Jerry Francis had Joe Hillman where Jerry Francis should be with him, down on the paint, on the block.
Jay Edwards. Mateen up high for the rebound, the 7-footer. Former Georgetown performer. Francis. Jay Edwards knocked it away, and we've got a foul on Anderson here. Eric Anderson picks up his third personal, so now Jay Edwards, Todd Jadlow, Eric Anderson, and Joe Hillman all playing with 3 personal fouls at this juncture, and Indiana is over the foul limit with 11:03 to go. So both sides in the bonus situation.
Coming down, you see the ball goes inside. Joe Hillman trying to guard Jerry Francis, does a good drop step, goes up, and you'll see Eric Anderson sneak up and get a good block on Jerry Francis's shot. And part of the reason that Eric Anderson got it was, one was good timing. The other was that Jerry Francis was so concerned about getting the ball by Joe Hillman, he didn't even see Eric Anderson coming.
7-foot center out of Akron, Ohio at the line. Grady Mateen leans in on his first, and he'll have another. Played at Georgetown. I mentioned he was a transfer from Georgetown. Played behind Patrick Ewing as a freshman.
Well,
I bet you he got some experience in practice that readied him for the physical play of the Big Ten down low.
Well, you can guarantee that.
Indiana leading by 7 coming up on the 10-minute mark. Second half. Brian Sloan. Lyndon Jones, Hillman on that cut around the pick by Sloan. Hillman almost threw it away that time. Jay Edwards. I'll tell you, the effort by Brian Sloan to keep it alive. Last touch by the Buckeyes. It'll belong to Indiana.
Well, I think the effort on both sides have increased. I think Ohio State has done a better job of being aggressive in their man-to-man defense, which is something I thought they would do early in the contest. They've since come out and started playing pretty well, and Indiana's got to make better decisions on what they're trying to get done offensively.
Hillman penetrates. Sloan didn't really recover in time to get a shot off. Eric Anderson, no, but a foul. I believe it's Mateen who picks up the personal, would be his third. Yes, it is Grady Mateen, his third personal foul. So now for Ohio State, Tony White, Jamal Brown, and I thought Grady Mateen had 3. It is 2 on Grady Mateen. Jerry Francis has 3 personal fouls. He's the other Buckeye in foul difficulty.
Well, I don't think Ohio State has nearly the foul trouble that Indiana has, because with Jay Edwards, Todd Jadlow, Eric Anderson with 3 fouls, none of those players can Indiana afford to lose. With Grady Mateen, I think Ohio State could still lose and still be in a good position to win the game.
Indiana leading by 9. Burson. Only Jay Burson's 4th field goal of the game. Edwards to Anderson on Mateen once again. Hillman. Hoosiers work the basketball. Under 10 minutes to go now in the ball game. Lyndon Jones. Grady Mateen up high. Brian Sloan the rebound again, and Mateen. Anderson slapped it away, and now the jump ball indication.
Well, this is
alternating possession. It's going to belong to Ohio State.
One of the things that's starting to happen to Indiana, the pressure has been increased by Ohio State. Indiana's starting to play a lot more one-on-one. Now, interestingly enough, one of the things Gary Williams has decided to do is to take Jay Burson off the point with the basketball. He's got Eli Brewster in, a young man that Williams has a lot of confidence in, but he's put Jay Burson in a position to catch the ball where he can now score with it.
Burson on the quick release. His 2nd in a row from the field, and Jay Burson beginning to heat up. He has 9 points in the second half, 15 in the game.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's a big difference catching the ball scoring as opposed to trying to create your own shot by having the ball in your hand and trying to dribble around people.
Last touchdown the play by the Buckeyes. It'll belong to the Hoosiers. 9:10 remaining, and Ohio State has crept back to within 5.
Not only have they crept back, but they've crept back with 3 of their starters sitting on the bench.
That's that bench play once again. The bench has been outstanding for Ohio State, averaging about 25 points a game. Edwards for 3. Finally, Mateen clears the rebound. 8:50 left to go. You're watching Ohio State. Brewster, kind of a wild shot there. Jet almost intercepts. Burson able to trigger it loose.
Boy, he is something else. He knew that Jay Edwards was going to put the ball down, did a good job stepping in front of him and steal it. And I'll just tell you, I marvel at this young man every time I watch him play.
Jet. And the freshman connects. Freshmen grow up in a hurry in the Big Ten Conference. Chris Gent with his first from the field.
Chris Gent is a very emotional player. Right here, he gets called for the foul, but he starts making jump shots. He'll start diving out for loose balls, but you can't question the young man's heart. He'll play hard all the time, and that's all you can ask from any young man that ever plays for you.
3rd personal foul on Chris Gent. Eli Brewster, Perry Carter come to the sidelines. Jamal Brown back on along with Tony White for Ohio State. And at the free throw line, Lyndon Jones, sophomore out of Marion, Indiana. You can hear the effort.
They're out here playing pretty hard. Indiana at this point is pretty fortunate. They're in the penalty and they have good foul shooters on the court. But I think that Gary Williams has to be extremely pleased with the play of Brewster, Mateen. And, you know, when you get players like that, including Gent, to come off the bench and give you a good play, that enables you to get good play down the stretch. And I think that may be what this game comes down to. Good play from the starters down the stretch.
Rested starters, perhaps, for Ohio State. 5-second violation almost. Now Burson resets the offense once again. He's in the point guard role now. Made that adjustment and drew the foul on Sloan. Let's see if we can pick it up, Quinn Buckner.
All right, we got Jay Burson going to the right, and he goes up for the shot, and you see him go up. I see hands go up. There's contact made, and the official felt that the contact was by Brian Sloan, and he called the foul.
You looked at me kind of funny when I made note of the foul, and I don't blame you after watching the replay. I know what you're saying.
Because Jay Burson, I thought, jumped in the air, but he didn't jump vertically, straight up and down. He floated toward Brian Sloan, and the official thought that the contact was made in the other direction. But, you know, it's a tough call to make, and they made it. Burson's on the line. He'll make the foul shots, I'm sure of that.
17 points, 5 rebounds for Jay Burson. He has led Ohio State back to within 3. It's Indiana 48, Ohio State 45. Back after this from your local station. Class Play Hall in Bloomington, Indiana. Ohio State has outscored the Hoosiers 9-4 in the last 4:06 of the ball game, and it's suddenly a 3-point contest. Indiana led by what, as many as 10 points not long ago.
They did, and I have to, coming out of these timeouts, Gary Williams has got to tell his team to stay aggressive defensively, not to foul. Now, Indiana coming out has the ball. They have to know that offensively they have to make good decisions, be patient, and try to rebound the basketball. That's all they need to do in order to be successful here. They've gotten good shots, but they must rebound any missed opportunities.
Smart move right there by Jay Edwards in close quarters in the trap. Hoosiers set it up. Under 8 minutes to go. Indiana by 3. This is Lyndon Jones, number 4.
Now Ohio State again has come out in their 1-2-2 zone. They got Gent on the point, which I think is a good decision. He's very active, can make a lot of good things happen for your defense.
Hillman for 3.
That's the confidence of a young man who's gone out, played baseball somewhere else, knows that he has, you know, an opportunity to do other things other than play basketball. He would not have taken that shot last year.
Ohio State resets. Tony White with that little jump hook that he's developed. Jay Edwards cleared the carom. This is Lyndon Jones. 7 minutes now left to go. Indiana's lead is 8 points. Make that 6 points.
This is where your 3-guard offense is definitely to your advantage, because the reason you have 3 guards in the game usually is for ball handling purposes. And if Ohio State wants to stay in a zone, Indiana would do themselves good by staying out, handling on the perimeter, taking advantage of any inside opportunities as they present themselves.
For 3, Jay Edwards has 15.
Ohio State became so conscientious of the inside, they forgot that they have one of the best 3-point shooters in the country in Jay Edwards.
Timeout, Ohio State. 6:26 to go. Indiana by 9.
One of the best shooters, Jay Edwards. He's been struggling a great deal for Indiana, but he got a wide open 3-pointer. When you let a shooter like that get a good look at the basket, they make those shots even if they're in slumps. Now Ohio State has to be concerned about Jay Edwards making that shot. He hadn't made a lot of jump shots tonight. He's got 15 points, as you see there on your screen. But if he gets going, Jay Edwards can score with anybody in the country. So Ohio State is going to have to pay particular attention to Jay Edwards.
Buckeyes trying to make some substitutions here. And I'm not sure the official's going to allow the substitutions right here at the outset. And they aren't going to commit until play resumes, till they get a stoppage in action. Jay Burson sets it up for the Buckeyes. Tony White.
Now, the smart thing for Indiana to do is do whatever they can to keep that young man from getting the basketball, because you see, that's what he can do. He's very good without it, and if he gets it, he can get it in the basket.
Good cut away from the ball by Burson that time. He now has 19 points. Jadlow stepped on the sidelines as he slipped.
Well, that's Todd Jadlow's fault. First of all, you see Coach Knight, Bob Knight, standing up there, and he's disappointed because if you get the ball on the sideline, the defensive players can use the sideline as an additional defensive player. Todd Jadlow got caught, he tripped and stepped out of bounds.
Jerry Francis to Burson. Oh man, here we go. 21 points now for Jay Burson. And he has taken over in this ball game for Ohio State from an offensive standpoint and brought the Buckeyes back to within 5.
Well, he's made the last 2 buckets for him, and he does appear to be on a bit of a roll. And as I talked about Jay Edwards being a real catalyst offensively for the Hoosiers, so is Jay Burson for the Buckeyes.
15 second-half points for Burson. Under 6 minutes to go in the game. Indiana leading by 5. Hillman off the weave. Jadlow nearly triggered loose by Burson. The open man, Lyndon Jones, for 2.
But Lyndon Jones has been a big help for Indiana this last couple of games. We talked about him being in the 3-guard offense, but he's starting to make jump shots for Indiana, and that makes them a tough team to play.
Burson answers with 3. He has 24.
He shot that at an NBA 3-pointer. That was a great shot.
Here comes Hillman. He does not have the numbers in his favor, though. Carter and Jamal Brown were back there in a hurry for Ohio State defensively.
Because the Indiana made the 2 3-pointers justifiably, Gary Williams has brought his team out now. Now they're playing man-to-man, and they will keep a hand in all the shooters' face.
Hillman had a hand in his face, but nonetheless pokes it through. He has 11.
Well, I've never seen Joe Hillman play with this much confidence. I'm sure this is something Bob Knight has to be particularly pleased by, to see this kind of confidence out of one of his seniors so he can get the rest of his players playing with that same confidence.
Buckeyes trail by 6. Francis off the glass hard, and he gets the roll. He has 11, but his first 2 points in the second half.
Wayne, I think we got a bit of a contest here.
4-point lead for Indiana. Certainly has picked up from what we saw in the first 10 minutes of the first half, right? Both teams struggled early in this ball game. If you're just joining us here in the second half, it's developed into a pretty good battle right now. Hillman on the drive, yes, and a foul! Tony White's 4th personal foul.
Well, what you'll see here is a good pass by Jay Edwards, but the ball fake is what got Joe Hillman in position to get that basket. He ball faked as though he was going to shoot a jump shot. Tony White got on his toes a little bit. Joe Hillman was able to put the ball on the floor, go to the basket, and now completing a 3-point play.
14 for Hillman. Indiana's lead again is 7. Coming up on 4 minutes left to be played in the ball game. Person trying to feed Carter inside. Great play by Jadlow to deflect it off Perry Carter.
Well, it really was a great play. What happened was that Todd Jadlow, as you will see here shortly, we don't get to see it, but Todd Jadlow did a good job getting around, getting his hand on the basketball, knocked it off of, I believe it was Perry Carter.
Edwards for 3. Taken away by Lyndon Jones. Contact away from the ball. The foul is on Jamal Brown. His 4th personal foul. This ball game, the momentum has swung completely in favor of the Hoosiers now. They lead by 10. And Todd Jadlow at the free throw line. He is a 75.9% free throw shooter. Gary Williams' teams have really struggled here at Assembly Hall. They've played well in the past, but they've never won under Gary Williams here at Assembly Hall.
Well, having played here, I can tell you, this is a tough place to play. I think all the fans have heard how the crowd can get into the contest, and when they started to do that, sometimes the opponent started to press a little bit. I'm not sure that hadn't happened a little bit for Ohio State. But there are a couple things that come to play in that. Those 3-point shots that were made out here really get the fans involved, and I think that's helped a lot. And I do think that has caused some anxiety on the part of Ohio State, and they've tried to take some shots that they shouldn't have taken. They've missed them, therefore Indiana's got another opportunity.
Well, Gary Williams wants to make a substitution, and he gets Jerry Francis into the lineup in place of Chris Gent. He also wants to put James Bradley in the ball game, and I'm not sure. Apparently now they're going to allow that substitution. That's what all the haggling is about. Apparently, let's see now. Bob Knight will have his audience with Jim Payne. And Bradley comes on for Ohio State. And heading off the floor, Jamal Brown. So Gary Williams finally does get the 2 men he wanted to get into the game inserted into the lineup. Jadlow. Rebound, Anderson. Fouled on the play by Jerry Francis. 4th personal on Francis, and boy, at this point, it's become a nightmare for Gary Williams.
Well, it really has. It's almost as though the wheels have started to come off. Todd Jadlow, normally a very good shooter, shot the ball. He didn't make the shot. Eric Anderson came up with the rebound. The official called a foul on Jerry Francis as Eric Anderson was trying to pull it away.
White, Brown, and Francis all with 4 personal fouls. Chris Gent has 3 for Ohio State. And the freshman out of Chicago nails the first. He's hit 3 in a row at the free throw line. 5 out of 8.
You see on the screen he had 9 points. The big key there is he also has 10 rebounds. That's something that he hadn't done very well at Indiana. He's doing a great job of it tonight, and Indiana's not leading.
By 12 are the Hoosiers. Jerry Francis, good move. Buckeyes have to stop the clock now. 66-56 the score. Indiana leading by 10. Still 3:09 left to go at Assembly Hall.
Finds his buddy, old buddy, Jay Edwards, and Jay Edwards does what he does again. As I said, as good as anybody. He knocks down the three-pointer, but I tell you what that probably means for Jay Edwards is a confidence builder. He's only been shooting about 37% from the field, and that's something that has been of concern to all of Indiana.
A reminder, stay tuned to the end of tonight's game. Quinn and I will announce the Budweiser player of the game. Right now it's a two-way race. Jay Edwards with 18 points, 10 of which have come in the second half. Jay Burson with 24 points, 18 of which have come in the second half, are the leading candidates. And I guess a lot of it has to do with who wins the ball game. And
well, see, I'm not that way necessarily. I'm really not. I just think whoever plays the best contest. And I'd have to say for Indiana, the other person you'd have to consider is either Joe Hillman or Eric Anderson.
Eric Anderson, too. Absolutely. Budweiser player of the game coming up after the contest. Indiana resumes offensively, leading by 10. 3 minutes now left to go.
Now, Indiana is in a real tough position. They're up now 12 points, and they're trying to squeeze the ball. And the tough part about this is when do you shoot it, when do you pass it?
The block by White, and apparently he made contact over the back. That's 5 on Tony White. And
see the good penetration by Joe Hillman to get the ball. You see, you couldn't really see it. It's tough from this angle, but there was a hand on the back by Tony White. And you'll see it from this angle. If you look at the left hand, you see he pushes him in the back. It's definitely a good call by the official. Play made by Joe Hillman, his ability to penetrate through the defense, draw 2 defenders, and find Lyndon Jones open under the basket.
So Tony White heads off. White did not score here tonight.
Well, that has obviously hurt them because Tony White has been a big part of what they've been doing here of late. They've only lost 2 games. Tony White had played well in all of the contests, and as you said, he lifted weights. As a sophomore, he couldn't play. He just wasn't strong enough. He was smart enough to get to do all the extra work. He's done that, and tonight he just played a bad game.
No points. He averages 10 points and almost 5 rebounds a game. Boy, this building has become, for the Buckeyes, a house of horrors. 1 out of 2 at the line for Lyndon Jones. He has 13 points. Indiana's lead is 11. Jerry Francis. Bradley out front. Bradley for 3. Rebound Carter. Terry Carter has 12 points now. The steal by Bradley.
That was a great effort by Bradley. Did a good job of anticipation coming up with that steal. I thought it was a bad decision, but I thought it was more of a great effort on Bradley's part.
7-point lead for Indiana. Hoosiers will try to take some time off the clock. Shot clock on the left side of your screen, lower left. Hillman gets the step to the lane. Chadlow again sets it back up outside.
Again, this is where the 3-guard lineup is to your advantage because some forward has got to guard.
Edwards fouled on the play by Bradley. Tell you what, they brought it down to what, almost 7 seconds before Jay Edwards went to the hoop with it.
Well, that's what they want to do with it, and if they have to go to one-on-one basketball or just to get a shot at the basket, they could do no better than get it in the hands of Jay Edwards, who's as good a one-on-one player as there is in the country.
18 points for Jay Edwards. Makes good on his first 11 other. 4 rebounds, 6 assists for Jay Edwards. He cleans up on the loose deflection. Seems to have a good nose for the ball. Freshman player of the year in the Big Ten a year ago.
He's really a good passer. The 6 assists are something that he's capable of doing any night, but he knows that he can score, and what opens up his scoring is the fact that he's such a good passer.
9-point lead, Indiana. Burson for 3. Bradley up high, and State got a foul coming up in Indiana.
I believe they called on Eric Anderson.
I believe you're right. His 4th personal foul. Bob Knight.
Well, Bob Knight is looking at Lyndon Jones because the reason that foul occurred was because James Bradley is Lyndon Jones' man. Lyndon Jones did not block out, and Bradley got in, was able to come up with the rebound, and Eric Anderson got the foul call.
Bradley in limited duty here tonight. 2 points on a field goal a few moments ago.
Now you'll see for sure Ohio State come out and try to exert their pressure. They'll pick up full, try to get Indiana to turn the basketball over as Indiana did the last time they were in this situation.
There's the pressure. Eric Anderson gets it away to Hillman. Lyndon Jones and Joe Hillman, the senior, handles it. Again, the Hoosiers, I think, overall tonight have done a very good job against the pressure defense of Ohio State.
Well, they really have, and Gary Williams has done a smart thing. What he's done is got in a 3rd guard in the game. As you see, that looked like a foul, but they got a 3rd guard to guard the 3-guard lineup of Indiana.
20 to go on the shot clock, 106 on the game. Shot clock, lower left corner of your screen. Foul right here on Bradley. His 2nd personal. Buckeyes have to stop the clock now. They trail by 7. But they send the wrong man to the line. Edwards shot, what, around 90% last year. He's at 86% or just below 86% this year.
Well, everybody that's in the game for Indiana now is at least a 75% shooter, so they're in pretty good position in terms of getting people in the contest. So if they get fouled, they get on the foul line, they can make those shots.
Hoosiers shoot as a team almost 75% from the free throw line. As a team, that's a pretty good mark.
That is a very good mark to be able to shoot that kind of percentage. You know, and Gary Williams had commented on the fact that they get more foul shots, and they obviously do a good job of taking advantage of those opportunities.
62 seconds to go. Edwards puts a couple of nails in the coffin, so to speak. 22 points. Under a minute to go now. Jay Burson had it pried loose by Lyndon Jones, and you get the impression there that you talk about a foul that didn't have to be committed.
Well, Lyndon Jones is standing there looking somewhat disappointed, and you see Bob Knight on your screen is very disappointed because, just as you said, there's absolutely no need to foul anybody on Indiana's part to get it from Ohio State. Indiana's got now a 9-point lead. They put the best shooter on the Ohio State's team on the line. That's something you just cannot afford to do.
Jay Burson, 24 points, 18 in the 2nd half. 88% free throw shooter coming in, 51% from the field, averaging 24 points a game. Back tap to Carter. Burson would like to get off a 3. Bradley does. And a foul on Carter, pushing off as he set up for the rebound. Perry Carter's 2nd personal.
Well, Gary, you see Gary Williams there, but more importantly, Bob Knight is there, and he's going to get on Lyndon Jones because that's the 2nd time that Bradley has been able to keep the ball alive and get a foul or an opportunity for Ohio State. And Bob Knight is telling Lyndon Jones that cannot afford to happen if we're going to have a chance to win this thing.
Todd Jandlow at the free throw line has 6 points here tonight. Averaging 13 points a game, shoots 76% from the foul line. Grady Mateen just did rain it in before it trickled out of bounds. Here's Brewster. Mateen. Been that kind of night for Ohio State.
It really has. They haven't been able to get the ball to go down at all, and it's caused them a lot of problems here.
Burson on the foul. 3rd personal on Jay Burson. 30 seconds remain. Tonight's Budweiser player of the game coming up following the contest. I think this guy at the line now is the leading candidate. I tell you, he's just automatic from the free throw stripe. A couple of changes here. Francis and Gent back on. Brewster and Bradley leave for Ohio State. Jay Edwards made good on 5 in a row. 5 of 5 tonight at the foul line. Make it 6 in a row. Has 24 points now. 10-point lead for Indiana. Time winding down to this one. Francis Chris Gent kept it alive, and the team puts it in. Final 20 seconds. Hillman keeps it clear. Good ball movement here by Indiana, and finally Carter commits the foul. It stops the clock with 7 seconds remaining. Tonight's Budweiser player of the game is Jay Edwards. 24 points, 16 of which came in the second half of play. Congratulations to Jay Edwards of Indiana, tonight's Budweiser player of the game. Also at the extras you saw on the screen, 4 assists and 6 assists and 4 rebounds.
Well, Jay really has played an outstanding game for him, I think, today. He shot the ball well for Indiana. He's passed it to various people, but he's handled the pressure. I think that was crucial for Indiana to do. Both Lyndon Jones, Jay Edwards, and I have to say Joe Hillman did an outstanding job in handling that pressure, because I thought that would really be a factor and work against Indiana.
They really took care of the ball for the most part. Francis lets it go from three-point land. Hillman to Jay Edwards, and that is going to do it. Bob Knight. Tonight's game has been brought to you by U.S. Air. U.S. Air warms up your winter with flights to Arizona, Florida, and California. By Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Indiana now 9-9 in Big Ten openers under Bob Knight. That's the final score. The Hoosiers win it over the Buckeyes. Special thanks to the sports information offices of both Ohio State and Indiana. Join us again on Saturday afternoon when the Big Ten Network brings you the Badgers of Wisconsin at Ohio State. Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern on many of these same stations. This has been a copyrighted presentation of Big Ten Productions in conjunction with Raycom Sports and Entertainment.